Okay. Right, I don't usually do these sort of things. I don't usually post about this stuff, but I usually post about it like on X, on whatever like thing that you do. So anyway, the reason why I'm kind of doing this video is to just bring up this issue that's come up recently. Now, I know I started doing a playthrough of the first Corpse Party game. I am a fan of the series. I have been since the first game came out over here when it was translated from Book of a Repeated Few in Japan. And I'm just going to read this because as of 24 hours ago, there's such a thing known as the Tetralogy Pack that was supposed to be getting a Western release, but now they've cancelled it. And I'm going to read the statement Xseed Games themselves have given, so I'll just do that now. So this is from the social media account of Xseed themselves. So it basically says, Corpse Party fans, we know how much you were anticipating the release of Corpse Party Tetralogy Pack. Though we previously released entries in the Corpse Party series on console platforms and digital storefronts in the West, we were informed the contents of several games in the Tetralogy Pack do not comply with current platform guidelines. As a result, we are unable to release these games as intended and have subsequently cancelled the physical release of the Corpse Party Tetralogy Pack, as well as digital offerings of previous unreleased Corpse Party games featured in the Tetralogy Pack. We apologise for any confusion and disappointment this may have caused. We remain committed to working with our partners at Mages to bring Corpse Party 2 Darkness Distortion to the West, and we'll share more details on its release when we can. Thank you for your understanding and continued support of the Xseed games and the Corpse Party franchise. Now, my issue is, simply said and put, right? This is a set of games that has been going the same length technically as the first Resident Evil when it came out in 96. The first version of Corpse Party came out in 96. And has then gone on to obviously have one remake. Then Blood Cover Repeated Fear, again another remake, which is the one we got here finally, which is what kick-started the whole Corpse Party like franchise over here in the West, because none of us were aware of it until then. Because this is what happens when you have like Japanese-only games. So my issue is, right, this is a game series that has gone through all of the censorship stuff. It's gone through all classification for all the previous games that it's had. And now, because of certain issues with it, it's not getting a physical release here in the West. So the only way that anybody can get hold of a physical copy of this game is if they import it from Japan. Now there is a plus side to that, because the Japanese version of the game does come with English subtitles, like English subs, so you can literally switch into English, so you don't have to worry about it. But the point being is, simply said and put, when you are going to release a physical copy of a game, and with the way the market's going at the moment with digital-only future and all that rubbish that they're trying to do, which, by the way, it's not going to take off. People like me will stick to physical because that's what we're comfortable with. I don't care if it's a dying thing. This has happened before with vinyl, and lo and behold, vinyl's come back. And they keep saying, oh, well, it's going to be digital that takes over music as well, so CDs and vinyl will die out again. They'll come back. Games in physical form will come back too. But what is winding me up about this is, like I said, the games have already been classified, right? They shouldn't. I know I've been reading as well that apparently, because it's technically classed as a new game, because it's a collection of games, including some that haven't been given a physical release, but I'll throw that in a flaming picture in a minute, because basically that's the reason why it's getting its failed classification, primarily because it's considered a new set of games, despite the fact it isn't. Anyway, what people are starting to say is, and a lot of fans have put out with, it's basically Nintendo's fault. They're the ones that are causing this. Nintendo of America have basically brought all these, like, issues up, and they failed the classification for the game, so there's never going to be a Western release of the game in physical form. Nintendo Japan really don't give a shit, because that game's been released. I actually own the physical copy of the game, of the Tetralogy Pack. I actually own it. I can play the game on my Switch comfortably, no issue. What winds me up about it is, though, is again, this is censorship. Like, I know people are going to be pointing out there are certain parts in the game that might have failed it because of this, that and the other. It didn't change the fact when it first went through classification, it passed it though, did it? Excuse me. Like, it could just be because it's to do with the Sachiko one, which is the spin-off one that wasn't even supposed to get an English translation, and Xseed fought like hell and actually translated it. That was many years ago, and I can remember them, saying that they weren't going to do it. It was still a case of, we don't know if it's going to get translated, and then it finally did, and then I could finally actually play the game, and I was happy about that, every fan was. Because, again, it's a series that's come along. It's a series that, you know, people are still picking up and playing and like, oh, this is cool, you know. But now you can't even get a complete set of the game because it's failed classification. But this is the same Nintendo of America and probably even Nintendo of Europe that is letting through AI slop on a daily basis, that is letting through games with the word hentai in them, and there's not an issue with them at all. And I just find that to be just kind of insulting. But another thing I've also learned is a lot of games that Nintendo have actually failed classification on this year. You can get them in Japan. Apparently some of these have English translations as well built in. But again, what's winding me up is, you know, I can kind of understand again, like some of the like fan servicey type stuff of it, but there are games that are probably even worse than that. At the core of it all, it is a horror game. People might think it takes it too far, but that's what horror games are. And I guess that's probably the reason why I'm kind of ranting about it, because it's a horror game at its core. It would be like this day and age, like say Capcom with some miraculous idea decided, oh, maybe we should get the original trilogy for Resident Evil 1, 2 and 3 and try and put that through classification, put it on the Switch. Can you imagine if those games failed classification because of the gore content in them? Which would be completely absurd, because the amount of gore content in games nowadays compared to those games back then, completely different. It's considered comical nowadays when you think about it. But anyway, that's my ranting done. People are probably going to be like, well, yeah, that's that and this, it's probably because of this, and fair enough, it's going to be that. But it just disappoints me that this game series that never really had that much traction until it started getting released digitally, went through all classification back then. Let's face it, all these games got a physical release in Japan, never got a physical release here in the UK or even in, you know, America. We had to physically, like, the only way we could buy the games is through the digital fronts, because that was the only way to get them. They came on UMDs because the original games came out on PSP. And now there's a chance that you can get all the games on one cartridge or even a disc. Oh no, we can't have it. It's just mind-blowingly numb why they would fail the classification for them in this day and age, when we need these physical releases for people so they can actually play the games. If they have no access to digital storefronts, you can get them all on Steam, you can get them all on GOG, but if you've got no access to them, you're buggered basically. There's no way you can get them all. It's just mind-numbing.